Just an FYI, you guys appear muted at the town hall.
We haven't started yet, Dave. Thank you. What's your last name, by the way?
Green, G-R-E-E-N, like the color.
G-R-E-Y.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Very well.
E-E-E-Y.
E-E-N.
All right. So, do we have a need to wait for Gabriel?
No, I think we can go ahead.
So let's start the Shutesbury Selectboard meeting for March 11th, 2025. And first, let's look at the agenda. We have Mary Ann first with some more documentation and a vote for National Grid for the poll and use of credits. We have an appointment for the Energy Committee. We have an appointment for the Zoning Board of Appeals. We have a letter for the Quabbin. I'm sorry, this is jumbled together. A letter for that Eric is bringing forth for the Quabbin watershed and to present support for that project. The discussion of rural development opportunities and grants. The review of annual town meeting dates. Review request from Gail Fleischiger for the proposal warrant article for the Farm and Forest Commission bylaw. Review and confirm dates for Lake Wyola Public Forum on boating safety. Review Pineapple Express request to deliver retail cannabis products. Possible vote to overspend snow and ice. The town administrator report. And then an executive session, we will go into for contract and negotiate for contract for police chief contract and town admin contract. And not to return to open session. Does anyone does that work for the other two select board members?
Yes.
And Gabe, okay. So let's start there. So we'll open it to public comment. If you're in the room, please raise your hand. If you're on screen, you may use the raised hand feature.
And Melissa,
yes.
Would you just mention who's in the room? Because I know people.
Oh, yeah, in the room, which I know you can see very little at the top there, is Marian Antonellis, Susie Mosier, and our town administrator, ITA, Gabe Volker. Does anyone on screen or in the room have a public comment they'd like to share? Okay. Let's move on to the first one, which is Mary Ann, you're bringing forth forms to vote for National Grid.
Right,
For solar
and you
project.
have the actual forms, right?
Okay.
So there are, so for National Grid, we've already done the easement and we've already done the pole. So the solar panels and the batteries are gonna be interconnected with National Grid. And there are a number of incentives that we can apply for, and we are applying for, and the different incentives are about, sharing the power from the solar panels and the batteries with National Grid when we have excess. And so we have to agree to have that interconnectivity with them and to share with them when we have excess and to make efforts to reduce use during peak times and to share extra power, especially during peak times. So that's what these forums are about. They're about the battery storage and net metering. And so this really seems like, since this will be an agreement with the town and National Grid, that the town should be signing these. So, and one of them is a landowner consent agreement. That's exhibit one. And the town is a landowner. I'm not the landowner. And then the other is Schedule C, and it's information required for the net metering service. So on that, there's a place for the select board to sign it. So the host customer signature, so we're the host. So let's see, the host customer means a customer with a net metering facility that generates electricity. So we make electricity and then it goes into first it goes into the building, then it goes into the batteries, and then it goes into the grid. So that's one thing. And then there's exhibit C, which is the generating facility expedited. So and this is an expedited application because we're a little late with this. Because we didn't know we were gonna have the batteries. So they left off, we'll have to handwrite in the city, they have one place where they left that off, but there's a page, where there's a page for the town to sign it. Let's see, where did that go? Page 2, there's a place for a signature for the interconnecting customer, and that's us. And then there's, this national grid form, and there was some places at the end, there's a place for the interconnected customer to sign that. And it's all about us interconnecting with National Grid and sharing the excess power when we have it, and then we'll get credits back.
Okay.
So,
And how will the credits be used?
That's on our electric bill, right? Like we get a
Right.
credit on our
Okay,
electric bill.
Thought I
Yeah.
had that.
yes,
Yeah. So
yes,
it's
Our
our
state
excess
distribution,
power
yeah.
that we've generated and then it's
Right.
like on a solar power, like
Right.
I sometimes have a negative, like on my
Yeah,
electric
solar.
bill, because I have solar, we'll say
Yeah.
negative $125, so they just took it off my next bill.
right,
So it's only it looks like only one signature
Right.
on all of those, so
Right.
there's a,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so does anyone have any questions? Beyond what we just asked, or?
So is this it with National Grid then, do we have any other?
I don't think so, because we've done the easement, we've done the full hearing.
Yeah,
And then so that's about the installation, so
Right.
that's all set.
right,
And then this is all about
With the
the
batteries.
interconnection,
Yeah.
interconnection and the incentives. And so so this is what they've sent me so far.
okay,
And then I don't know if they'll send me, because there's 4 different incentives we're applying for. The federal one is, there's a federal solar credit.
with that.
So, I may come back with that, but.
It still exists. right?
Well, it does today, so, and so we're just gonna fill out all the applications.
Right.
And they're filling them out, the solar designers are filling them all out on our behalf.
Okay,
So this is what they've done so far, and this is to get it interconnected with National Grid,
right,
so
okay,
that National Grid can then design everything, because they take a long time to get everything done.
okay. Is the solar the last thing and the battery installation, would that be one of the last things that happens at the library?
With that and site work. will
Yeah.
be the last.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
that's the same.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, the roof has to be done before the solar can go on, and then a pad, and then the cement pad has to be built, which was part of the plan because they were required by code. A cement pad for battery storage was required by code, even though we didn't have plans for battery storage, so, but that'll go in when they're doing some of the site work, so,
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we execute the 4 agreements for the interconnection of the, solar, the battery.
And the solar.
And the solar, with National Grid.
Okay,
Second.
All right, all those in favor,
Carol, I.
Stalker,
make peace O'Neill.
I do have a question on, it doesn't, I think
Oh.
I've signed this either way, but, do we have a choice on who makes the batteries?
So the way it works, so this is a public project with the state and the battery storage folks. So we're doing lithium iron batteries, not lithium ion batteries. Okay, and the lithium ion are the ones that burn and can't ever be put out. So we're doing lithium ion batteries. The solar designers have sort of, they've chosen a basis of design, and then the contractor will prepare a quote, and they get to pick either the basis, they get to pick equivalent, a product that's either the basis of design or a product that's equivalent. So, no, we just have a product that meets the specifications that the designer specified in a public project. You don't get to specify that. Even with the flooring, anything for this building, we didn't get to, we could specify a basis of design and then it had to be like this, and we would give we gave 3 flooring products, we gave 3 window products, and then they could choose one of those, or they could choose a product that is equivalent. And so the batteries work the same, and the solar panels work the same.
All right, one more, hold on. There's a lot of these for this one. If we want, we can go on to the Energy Committee's appointment of Bert Schultz, Schwartz, I'm sorry.
Can we skip? Oh, he is here.
He is
Okay.
here.
because I-
We're both here.
I'll pull it out.
Are you ready?
All right.
Yeah, we are. Thank you, Gabe. Yeah, so
You're
I'll just tee it up. So ECAC is a committee of 5 slots. I think it was last year we reduced it from 7 to 5. We've got a really committed core group of 4. And a few months ago, Bert Schwartz, who's here, expressed interest. He's come to the last 2 meetings, participated in conversations, and we unanimously voted 4 of us to recommend him to you guys to appoint to ECAC. And so I think if you wanted to, Bert's ready to answer any questions or tell you why he's interested in being on ECAC. So I'll hand it off to him if that makes sense.
Sure. Can you tell us why you're interested in joining the ECAC? What passion do you have there?
You have to unmute yourself, Bert.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Better?
Yeah, I'm good. Oh, you're
Sorry about
good.
that. Yeah, it's been, the environment's been a personal interest of mine for many years, and, I'm committed to, reducing my, negative impact on the environment through my personal actions. And, when I learned about the ECAC through, the newsletter, the town newsletter, I thought, well, I was curious, and I have an electric vehicle myself and try to keep, my emissions as low as possible, through my home energy use and all that. So I thought, well, I'd like to do that on a wider scale, get involved and see what the town is doing, with the same goals in mind. So I think, what's good for me is good for the town, and vice versa. So, yeah, and it's been interesting to join. I'm a little behind the 8 ball, because they've been having meetings for some time now, so I'm trying to catch up and learn and understand a little bit, what's happened so far in the group. But I'm interested and committed to the cause of trying to improve our energy sources for the town, sources of electricity, delivery.
Anybody else have a question for?
No, you've attended some of the meetings? now?
I've attended 2 of the meetings, yeah.
Great.
Okay,
And your
Yeah,
name was put forth by
Yeah.
the committee.
yeah,
Great.
I think.
I'm gonna make a
fine with it.
motion to, appoint Bert Schwartz as the newest member of the Energy and Climate Action Committee.
Thank
Second.
you.
all right, all those in favor?
Carol, I.
Stalker, aye.
Macrease O'Neill, aye.
Great, welcome.
Perfect.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you very much. Bert, I'll catch you later.
Okay.
Okay, drive safely. So the next one is to appoint Michael Pill to the Shutesbury Zoning Board of Appeals. So Michael Pill's been brought forth to fill that position. I don't see him on there.
No, Jeff is here from the
Jeff is here.
ZBA.
Hi, Jeff. Would you like to give us some information on this particular appointment?
Sure.
And
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, are you,
Good.
Jeff, you're still on the ZBA, correct?
I am, yes.
Nice.
Yeah, right now I am an associate, so I have to be activated by the chair. John Thompson just resigned recently, which left us with 1 regular member, John Airstuck, as a regular member, and then myself as an associate. So we don't even have enough to act on special permits, which requires all 3 of us. So yeah, Matteo has been combing the town for new members. Michael has stepped up. There are 2 others as well that might be interested. But anyway, I'm here, and I've spoken to John Airstuck, and we both support Michael for the position. You know, he has a history in the town. He's done, you know, he wrote our subdivision regulations for free in the 80s. And, you know, he's represented Coles and things like that. But nonetheless, John and I feel he would be a good member. The kinds of things that he's been involved in are mostly large land projects that wouldn't be under the jurisdiction of the ZBA. The ZBA deals with small individual homeowners doing additions, rebuilding, things like that. That's not what Michael does in his legal practice. He's and he's a zoning expert. I mean, my profession is zoning as well, but I don't want to be the only one on the ZBA who understands zoning, especially since I don't live in town anymore. So John and I both support that nomination. But if you make the nomination, that gives us John Airstuck and Michael Pill as regular members and me as an associate. And we have a problem with the chair, because Michael has indicated that he can't be the chair. He's too busy. John Airstuck is similarly situated. He can't be the chair. We have 2 other possible members out there, but they would be brand new to the board. So the total ask here is to put Michael on as a regular member, but also convert me from an associate to a regular member, which you can do, so that I can serve for a while longer as the chair, which is what I was when I left Shutesbury. But this will just keep the board going for a while until somebody on there gets comfortable enough to be the chair. So it's a sort of a two-part ask. Appoint Michael and then swap me into a regular slot for a while. And I'm not sure you can do the second thing at this meeting with no advance notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we would want to do that, but we would certainly take that under advisement.
Yeah.
And my recollection is that it's typically included in the statute, right? If it's somebody from out of town, because I know some boards you can appoint people who don't reside in the community. But it's usually the enabling statute, so I assume it's not an issue.
Yeah, I looked it up and checked it out, and if it's an appointed board, which this one is, and there's no specific prohibition in your charter or bylaws, then you can do it. Here in Conway, you can't do it because we have a general bylaw provision that says you can't, which we're trying to change, but there's no such provision in Shutesbury.
Okay, good. All right, so I think we can do that at our next meeting, Jeff. So thank you for offering to step up. We'll just
Sure.
put that on the agenda. So I'd like to make a motion to appoint Michael Pill to the Shutesbury Zoning Board of Appeals.
Second.
Okay, any further questions or, comments? All those in favor?
Carol, I.
Right.
Make O'Neill, aye.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great, so let's move on now to the Quabbin, the letter for the Quabbin watershed, and presentation for our report.
And then do you folks have that letter? I
Yes.
emailed it, good.
Yes, she sent it to
I
us.
did send it to you.
We were asked, to weigh in on this
Right.
legislation that's been,
Right. I think Joe Comerford's looking for all the support she can get.
Yeah. and this is really the follow-up to the letter that we did to the
Right.
NWRA about the Quabbin study and saying that that didn't really, address all the things that we
Right.
hoped were gonna be addressed, and then, I knew at the time that she was gonna file some legislation, so this is, I mean, it's great. Looks like there's some things we don't have the answer to.
Yeah, Leslie's on vacation this week, so she's the one to ask those questions
Oh,
about,
okay, okay.
how many acres do they own? What
And
percentage
what
are
percent of
gonna,
our
yeah,
land?
and then
yeah.
what percentage of what the town
Right.
acreage is. I don't know the answer to this question, or I didn't feel comfortable enough.
Yeah,
And I have to admit that, well, two
I
things.
tried to figure that out with the GIS, but then decided that probably wasn't
No, I just
good for
figured
me
it
to be
out.
calculating
I
that.
try to ask, I'd ask
Yeah.
Leslie, that's a good idea. Anyway. But I will say that I took, most of these bullet points on that letter are taken really almost directly from, Joe Comerford's, little handout on this project, this is her baby, basically, she's really into this thing.
yeah,
So it's pretty
Yep.
straightforward in that sense. I mean, the idea is pretty obvious, it's just like, that here we are. This is our water that they're drinking down in Boston, we don't really get paid adequately for it and so forth, and, here we have a PFAS problem. Maybe in fact, we'll have to have public water before we know it, at least some of the time, well, who knows, I'm not saying, I'm not advocating that, but.
Right.
Possible,
It's an
Anyway.
unknown.
anyway, so that's the deal.
yeah, I think it's a great letter, and it's short and sweet, it's
Short and
sweet,
sweet.
you like that?
Yeah.
I
it.
do like the idea of adding the acres and the percentage, so I think that
Right.
would be helpful.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm wondering, I'll look back, because I always kept some of the information that our former administrative assessor had done. I don't think, he did a bunch of maps, Kevin, and,
Oh, yeah.
and I know I downloaded them, but I have to look at home to see if he, because some of it was just like state land, so it was all, I think it might have all been
Right.
lumped
Yeah.
together, because we have state parks and we
Right.
have,
multiple places.
right,
not
right,
just
so
that.
it's probably not broken out, but I'll take a quick look. When is Leslie back?
She comes back tomorrow, but I don't know if she's coming to work on Thursday. She has a time change, just like.
Right, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, well,
so-
I'll deal with obviously getting her to fill us
Yeah,
out.
okay. And then, get it off, yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Then we can all sign it, well, I'll just bring it back to a subsequent meeting and. we-
When does it
How
have to
soon
be
do they
placed?
want it?
Actually, when I was talking to Elena, who's, Joe's assistant, she was trying to decide who we should send it to. I
Oh,
think so,
okay.
I think soon, but not right this very
Okay,
minute.
all right.
So that would be my answer to that question.
So do you want us to wait to vote on it till you come back, or, I mean, I'm fine with it and filling in.
Yeah, I'm fine with voting on.
Yeah, why don't we?
Yeah,
vote?
yeah, you can vote, and I
on
guess
it?
you can sign the
I
back
guess
page.
we-
and-
Or, no, what we could
Yeah.
come in
Put it
and
in our
sign.
box.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all right, I'll bring it,
yeah.
all right,
The
that's fine.
final can be in.
Okay,
our-
that's good.
Yeah, rather waiting until then, if you get the data.
Right.
Okay.
So I guess the motion would be to approve this, as, approve approve this with the inclusion of acres and percentage of land. So do I hear motion for?
I so move that, that we send this letter to the legislature, about our support for
I'll second it.
Senate Bill 828 and House Bill 2773.
I'll second it. That's pretty obvious, I guess.
All those in favor?
Carol, I,
Stalker, aye.
Make peace and meal aye. Great, thank you for.
yes,
doing that,
thanks
Eric.
for doing that.
Appreciate that. Now we will move on to discuss the rural development opportunity grants for towns under 7,000 people.
So I think I sent to all of you, the guidelines for, the Rural Development Fund. And this is, there's a kind of one-stop application for all of the state's kind of development programs. And then within that, they set aside a certain amount of money for communities that are 7,000 people are under or have fewer than 500 residents per square mile. So Shutesbury qualifies. We were approached actually by Lena Cohn from Senator Comerford's office saying that, I'm sorry, saying that we'd never applied before, and she was sort of wondering if we wanted some assistance. And, you know, would we be interested in applying this time? So I went through the guidelines, and there were a couple of, a lot of it really doesn't apply to us. It's really for mixed use buildings, like even small communities that have kind of downtowns. There were two things that immediately came to mind, and then one I think I realized probably wasn't going to work. You know, one was you can apply for doing what I call pre-development work, you know, site engineering, architectural, that sort of thing, for vacant or about to be vacant municipal buildings. And you can even do some, you know, some design and possibly some construction. So I first thought, oh, our library, you know, our library building is going to be vacant. You know, we're going to have to, whatever use it has, if it has a public use, it's going to need work. But then as I read it again, I realized it said it was ineligible if it was solely for municipal use. So if we were only going to use, if we use that building for some, like they gave an example of co-working space, and you combine that with a municipal use, you could possibly use these funds. I don't think, given the nature of that building, that, you know, maybe an old school building, you could say, oh, yeah, we devote part of it to something, and then the rest of it should be municipal use. But the other thing is road and bridge and culvert design work and engineering work. And it's what we weren't able to do with MVP. They wanted all of that. When we were going for MVP, with the first application we did for MVP, Municipal Vulnerability Program, was to look at stormwater issues. And this, you know, if we had a project, you know, we knew what we wanted to apply, you know, we could do that. So there's the good thing about this, because we're, you know, sort of just finding out about it, is that it's a two-step process. There's a expression of interest, which is due, if we want to submit an expression of interest, it's due by the end of this month. I can't remember the exact date. But then the applications are accepted from beginning of May till June. So there's a month-long period in which you can submit an actual application. The advantage to doing an expression of interest is that they'll give you feedback. It's kind of like with the MVP. There was a two-step process where you can say, we're thinking about doing this, and they'll tell you, well, no, don't do this, don't, you know, maybe do something else. And I didn't really know if we had I know the stormwater group has been doing a lot of work, and Jennifer's happens to be here tonight. I didn't know if we had any, or Dave, our highway superintendent, had any ideas about something that we could submit that,
You might, actually. I happened to stop down there, yesterday morning, and he had just gotten a report back from two culverts that
Yeah, so I
needed
saw,
repair.
yeah,
So he said it might apply to some of that, so,
oh, okay. So that's something there.
yeah.
Yeah,
One of them is the lake one, the Fishbrook, and the other one was on Lever Road. Pictures.
and what about did he mention anything about the Montague Road down where Brown's Dam came down? Remember that culvert? was-
Yeah, these two were specifically for this is
Cited
what I
in that
saw with him.
report?
Those two were report on that. I don't know that they've assessed all the culverts yet, but
Okay,
these were those two specifically.
Yeah.
He had just gotten back, I think that yesterday morning. I want to say it was just-
it just came, yeah, I
Yeah.
took a quick look at it,
So, this may apply to
yeah.
either of those or more.
did you see Jennifer Wallace?
Yes.
Hand up there?
Yeah.
Hi, hold on, let me lower my hand. Okay, lower it.
Yeah,
Hello, everybody. You know, we've been working on exactly this and trying to make contact with Dave, but we got snowed out on a couple of our meetings, but he did say he had some ideas of things, especially as it pertained to what happens on Locks Pound Road and then the drainage that heads down the hill into the lake. So knowing this, and I had just recently sent him a list of questions that our task force had for him on maintenance. So I think, I mean, you've been in touch with him too, but I can write again to him or talk to him and say, hey, you know, is any of the things that you've said you had ideas about, could that possibly fit in here? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. I
You
think any
have-
idea.
Would you feel open to sending me the criteria or the kinds of things that they want to see in this letter of interest and the kind of projects they might like to look at?
yeah, there's not a lot of detail. Can you pull it up, Eric? Do you?
Yeah, I think I sent it, didn't I send it to you? I thought I did, maybe.
I haven't gotten it yet, so no, I don't think so.
Okay,
26th is the letter. of interest.
the 26th. Okay,
Okay.
so the 26th is where the expression of interest, right? So it's kind of a rolling, open till the 26th. So when's our next meeting?
Okay.
25th.
Yes.
Everything's
Right?
getting packed in there pretty well at the end of March, but anyway, I'd love to take a look at it. Our committee is meeting next week. We could talk about it, to also touch base with Dave. One other question I wonder about, and I don't know whether you happen to see that, is this restricted to municipal government? Would a nonprofit group be able to access some of this, especially if we were working together? That's my
That's a good
beat
question.
here. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
okay,
it.
okay, I don't recall, I mean, maybe, can you
I have it
share
right
it?
there.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
I'm not hooked up to share.
Oh,
Give me one
okay.
second.
Yeah, we can send it to you,
I'm
there
gonna forward it
wasn't,
right to her right now.
Okay.
Before we forget. So
Okay.
give us a second.
there wasn't, they sort of said eligible activities and then kind of listed them. They didn't give a lot of examples. I think if we, and even if we don't submit the expression of interest, we can still apply for the money. We're not precluded from, applying. So that's a good thing. But it's always good if you can send them something. So if we have some ideas,
Something more than a, hey, we're interested.
yeah. So
Well, I
then-
could also, I mean, if it's not out of line, I could contact someone through that office and say, is this, let them clarify, whether a nonprofit could also work, if working with the town, if that could be a combo, but if that's overstepping, I won't do that.
Yeah, I believe it's probably in the eligible applicants, so
Okay.
it's in
All right,
guidelines.
great.
I just don't recall. I mean, I was thinking about it from, as a
All right,
municipality.
this little beep, my scallops are ready, so.
It sounds like it's something here and
They'll be right over.
Nice.
Yeah. So Dave Green has a question.
Yep, Dave, go ahead. I see your hand up. Go ahead.
I just want to just to clarify, are you guys looking for someone to actually write and submit the letter of interest by one of these
No, we would-
committees?
Yeah, we would do it. We just wanted to
Okay.
get, I just,
Can you send the
Yeah.
same information that you're sending to Jen to LWAC, since we've also put in a lot of time into this issue? We'd like to take a look at it so we're all on the same page.
yeah, and if we could, get something back, by next week from LWAC and from, the Stormwater Committee, then we can sort of, I don't think this has to be, in depth, but a good, like a good description of, once you've looked at the guidelines of what might be the priorities.
We meet on Saturday, so I might be able to get, I don't know if it's too late to get it onto the discussion, but it might be too late. I gotta talk to Mark. What's my deadline to get it posted for the meeting? Tomorrow?
For Saturday.
For
Yeah,
Saturday,
yeah.
the LWAC meeting. We don't
Yeah,
have-
that would,
48 hours.
Yeah, 48 hours.
Okay, yeah, so if you could just send that to myself and Mark Rivers as well as Judy, that would be terrific.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Um,
I'm trying to forward him. He's decided not to. We will get it to him.
well, Melissa had it.
I have it.
So she
Yeah, I
sent
said I would do it. I just, it's
Period.
not working in the moment that I'm trying at the moment. It's not,
So do you think, I mean, if we were gonna get something for, try to pull something together to vote on the 25th, so it got submitted on the 26th, or by the 26th, would we want to have Dave? Who would work with Dave on this too? Or would we have him come to that meeting? I mean, I think we need to do stuff in advance.
well, I think his thoughts ahead of time even,
Yeah,
right? Like if we
Okay.
have to propose a letter, we want it drafted
yes,
as we're
Yeah.
right to look at that night.
yes,
So it would be before,
okay.
is my,
Okay.
and since
It
he has
sounds
that
like you've been
comment on the
talking
table,
to
yeah,
him.
I can forward this to him and then pop down and,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sending this off to Jennifer now. And I'll get to, okay, so that's off. And I'll check in with Dave on that. Is there anybody else we want to just send it to?
I'm just trying to think on the roads, so we're focusing on the roads and stormwater and culverts and bridges. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that
yeah, I
covers
think
it,
that
right?
covers it.
I would think so.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
if you, Jennifer, or Dave, think of anybody else, certainly let us know. But, yeah, we just have to hustle now.
So I guess we will move on to, vote and sign on the warrant for annual town election form, which I know Grace, excuse me, Grace sent to us.
I was actually hoping, if we could hold this for the moment, because if we decide to decouple the election and town meeting and move annual town meeting date, then I would want I would prefer to, the only reason we hold the local election at the elementary school is so that it's in the same location as town meeting. So I would, if you guys decide to move the annual town meeting date, I will, we'll do the election at town hall, so we don't have to transport our materials. And, I'll just make that edit to the warrant and get it for you guys for next week.
Great, thanks, Grace.
Okay. Thank you, Grace. So we will move on to the next item then. And that is to, a request from Gail to, potentially I'm sorry. Missed that.
Going to review whether I'm.
For the Farm and Forest Commission bylaw. Gail? Sorry, I appear to not be able to speak at the moment.
Gail, you have the floor.
Gail?
Okay, the Farm and Forest Commission was established by bylaw. It has not been active for years. And as I understand it, because it was established by bylaw, the only way it can be decommissioned is by either, I don't know what the wording is, deleting or negating or rescinding the original founding bylaw, and that would have to be done at town meeting on the warrant.
Does this in any way affect the Shutesbury being determined as a farming community if we disband this? Kind of a
Part of the problem is that the commission has not done it. They have not had meetings. They have not done the actions that were in the original outline of their purview, of their scope. So it's hard to say that there was an effect in the first place. One of the things that has been continued is the Saturday Farmers Market, but that is not under the aegis of the commission. It's been by, as you say, local farming members of the community.
Well, I believe Shutesbury has been established as a farming community. I just didn't know if we take the bylaw and the commission away, does that negate what that rule was? And I don't know that we can answer that right now. Grace, I do see your hand.
Yeah, I just wanted, I can answer that. So, agriculture being a by right use in Shutesbury, that's in our zoning bylaws. It's got nothing to do with the Farm and Forestry Commission. So
Thank
the
you.
answer is no, this wouldn't have any impact on that.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Grace.
Thank you for clarity.
So we just have to draft language that dissolved that, or deleted that bylaw, however we're doing it.
I submitted wording in a letter to the select board and to the town administrator. It's straight and simple. I copied the language from other bylaws, and it's basically to undo it. But I do not know the proper term, if it's rescind, delete, decommission, whatever.
Okay,
Town council may have the answer for that. And if so, then how do I present that to the select board to get onto the warrant? What, is there a time when bylaws are presented to be on the warrant, or?
yeah, I think we know by voting this tonight that would then fall to us you've given us the language, it would just get on. Like,
And would it have to be sponsored by the web committee? Or would it be sponsored by you, the select board?
be sponsored by us.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Speaking of that, it looks like we sort of went back and we missed the reviewing whether or not the town meeting should be on a different date. which
I'm
was-
sorry, that was,
This may beg the question.
yeah, I jumped. So let's finish up this
Yeah.
one and we'll go back.
Yeah.
That was my fault. I apologize. So we don't need to vote on that to add that to
We
the
don't.
warrant yet.
no,
because
yeah,
we would
that's
do
right, we'd be do it at the time.
We do it all at once,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay,
that's more of just a note to
Yeah.
make sure that that's on there.
Okay.
Thank you, Gail. And we'll go back to possible issue with town meeting date. So let's go back to that one.
Yeah.
And this is Grace, no, okay.
no, it's at Grace.
Yeah.
It sort of started with an email that we got from Susie about concerns about the 26th being the end of school vacation week,
right.
and then Gabe asked me to give AJ a call because, before when we sort of opened up this can of worms, we decided didn't make any sense. So I had a conversation with AJ about whether there were any compelling reasons from the
To change the date.
yeah, and so he agreed that for school, a lot of school families go away in April, so that could put a damper on their participation. And he said the other two, you know, if they had more time, it would help both with the overall town budget, which, and Susie can speak to this in April, you're on the finance committee too, which we have a gap, and that the finance committee is really working very hard to figure that out. And the later we meet, the greater the likelihood, although it's not an absolute given, that we'll know what's happening on the regional basis with the regional budget. So he said, you know, for those reasons, yes, being later would be better. And you know, my understanding is that we have a bylaw that set the date, but we can change it. So I guess the question, I mean, given we have two finance committee members here, and you know the school issue, do you want to weigh in? Is that okay, Chair?
Yes, that's fine.
I think Adrian laid out the points. It's also the state money. At this point, we only see the governor's bill. Jersey proposal and, House Ways and Means will probably come out at the beginning of April, but that's still really far from them coming to an agreement. So, in this particular year, because of the overlap with the vacation week, we want to move, but we want it moved. I believe we want it, the town would be better off if it was moved anyways. And so I was hoping we'd have a warrant article that moves this anyways, but just for this year, it feels important to deal with the conflict. It's not usual with the school vacation as this state.
Yeah, no, I know.
So I think we've never run into this before.
Yeah.
And actually never had the April last weekend in April date happen. So we kind of need 2 steps. One to move this year for the reasons that we cited, and one to move it. And I
To change the bylaws, Susie, to
Yeah.
move it later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we ended up
That does
moving it up
seem-
so early.
And I don't know if, we haven't had a discussion, I don't think, to talk about when that would be, and so we need to know how that warrant article pushing that bylaw change, would also happen, what our time frame is for that. We know we're meeting on and the 5th and the 1st, so we have a lot going on. But we would be willing to weigh in. I mean, I think you all know the pieces. But I guess I think there will always be conflict with events in this valley. There's a lot of events. The latest we've had town meeting was June 27th, not that late.
That was a little late.
No, no, that wasn't that late.
Here's out a lot of events, you know, graduations and all that is done. I guess part of it has been university folks might be gone, but if we do it maybe at the beginning of June, I can see that as a possible date, but that part we don't want to finish out tonight.
Right, right. So we just need to make a decision about whether or not we want to move it. And I think what would make the most sense is if we could kind of survey everybody who's the key players here. I mean, we have a lot of committees, you know, I know people have been moving ahead, you know, on bylaws and getting hearings done and all of that. There's been, you know, a lot of preparation. Not that it gets lost, but everybody gets a little bit of breathing room. But the conflict is, you know, who are the major players. The one thing that Grace pointed out to me today is that we would still have the election. We wouldn't change the election. We'd still be on for this year. It would still be on the 26th, and we would be electing a new moderator. And so,
But doesn't that change
As of the July 1st.
I
You
don't,
can ask it. It's up-
yeah, Paul, do you serve till July 1?
June 30th.
No, no.
June 30th, yeah.
No. You're elected. You only serve until the next election. So once someone is elected to the position, the term ends.
That's news to me.
Grace, but when the select board, this is just when the select
Yeah.
board is reelected, or there's an election.
Yeah, we don't start
start
until
until
July
July
1.
first.
No, you guys start when your term, yeah.
That's not
Okay,
how we.
if you
done it.
go to the website, it explains it on the town website. Let me find it.
So when we have an election, let's just say you aren't running.
Well, or
You wouldn't start, the select board member would start at the next meeting and not July 1? Is that right?
I
The
would think so.
select board member starts a certain number of days after the election.
Yeah, that was- In my 2 terms, it was July 1. I think Eric and Rita, you both started
Yeah.
on July 1.
Yeah,
Mm,
Right.
Unless
So
it was
see,
special.
Right.
I'm having an issue for some reason. I'm not getting PDFs working on the town website on my phone for some reason.
I can pull it up, Grace.
Yeah,
Hang on a second.
so it's on the elected officials list.
Go there now.
What is happening on my
We have
phone?
approval or something.
Grace, is it what would it be, a town bylaw? Where would that be?
I mean, I believe it's an MGL.
And something just generally about elected officials, or?
Can Google that question.
Yeah, Google question, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because even like if you take it to a national level, the president doesn't start until January, even though they're elected in November. I realize that's not here. I think the same thing when you're a senator, you don't start until the next Senate.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
the MGL is saying 7 days after the election is when the term starts. That's state law.
For any elected official?
Definitely for moderator and town clerk.
That may be, those may.
Maybe violating the law all year.
Moderators can be picked up for, that's allowable too.
Grace,
Mm-hmm.
what's online as the elected officials list is not a PDF.
Okay, I'll go back there. I'm just not, normally I can open a list on this page, but it's,
There's not a link to what's listed, what the text says is the elected officials list,
right, so all I'm seeing on that page is
the
2 bullet
text.
points.
Yeah,
Oh, I have one.
Sorry,
and not
my
a link to a
dog.
document,
What?
and not a link to a document.
Right, and there's supposed to be a link to a document there,
Right.
but somehow
Oh,
it's
well,
gone away.
I
But
found-
anyway, I'm looking at the MGL. I can go into this deeper and send out a notification. If that works for people.
I'm not getting anything that.
So what this says is a moderator shall be elected by ballot at the annual town meeting when his term of office expires, the term of 1 or 3 years, and shall serve as moderator of all town meetings except as otherwise provided by law until a successor is elected and qualified.
Yeah, so that is elected and qualified. You serve until your successor is elected and qualified. They're elected on election day, and then they're qualified when they take the oath of office. which they're required to do within 7 days of their election.
Is it allowed to pick a, an active moderator off the board?
Well, we have a candidate for moderator. We probably will have a newly elected moderator. It's just, I don't think it's an issue. I just think it's something to be aware of.
So when does it take place?
It's only an issue for her if she has not had, I don't know, adequate training. Paul, do you have some?
Some input? Well,
Yeah.
as I said, it's news to me. I was always told that my term started, on July 1st, but, it's good news for me, I guess, in terms of finishing up. I would certainly help in whatever way. I mean, if you do change the date and a new moderator has to take over, I would certainly help in whatever way I could, to get her up to speed or to assist that day as an assistant moderator or whatever. So, I don't think that should be a stumbling block necessarily.
Okay, we appreciate that offer.
Yeah, it's good.
What dates you available?
Now, that's assuming that I can make it, if you change the date, because we haven't had that discussion yet.
We'll be the first person you ask. We ask.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like we have a question that we need to answer also now in general, right, for elected officials.
right,
Yeah,
no, that's.
yeah.
Who knew?
Okay. Do we want to, so we were talking about changing the dates. You wanted to be able to, so I guess we'll wait until we get here from FinCom on what they're thinking of the date.
Well,
I think that's where we kind of left it.
I thought we
or choosing
would
it.
do, I think we have to decide,
Okay.
we want to change the date. We need to get something out to
Sure.
a whole group of people, including the school, about availability. But I think we should come up with a couple of tentative dates and then,
Looking at the calendar. Looking at the calendar. And I think there was a valid point that May is full of things in the valley since the weather is spring-like. 7th of June.
Yes, 7th of June.
can we put up 2 dates as a possibility?
Yeah, that was the
I
first
feel
one.
like May 31st or June 7th.
Where is that long weekend?
The 26th is the 25th
It's
is
one
the
before. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
before, so the 31st is the last.
So 5:31 and 6/7.
Yeah, that gives you guys, finance committee, a few more weeks.
Then the weekend after the 14th is Flag Day, Father's Day, and Juneteenth.
Yeah,
in that one week,
probably
so
not-
maybe we would
not
skip
good.
that.
Yeah, yeah. And then Paul, is, May 31st or June 7th, workable for you? We have to check it.
The 31st probably could work. I was hoping to be on the road by early June, so yeah, actually anything in early June would not, or to middle June would not really be ideal for me. I'd have to do some radical plan changing.
Okay. Mateo,
Mateo? Oh, no,
Mateo did have his hand up. We have one candidate for town moderator, and that happens to be Mateo's.
Oh, that'd be great.
No, not Mateo. No.
no,
Oh, right.
he didn't.
He does. And a cat too. Mateo, did you have a comment?
I actually had just a question about, so I'm just looking, just to clarify, the date of the election can't be changed, but the date of town meeting can, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
at this point, the date of election could legally be changed, but it would have to be like now, and it's a huge amount of work.
Notification, work, properly
Because,
notified.
because of all the nominations, all of that stuff, that's all been done.
The calendar that's
The
revealed.
calendar,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So it sounds like 5:31 is one of the three, right?
Yeah, 31 or the 7th, yep. Okay,
But the 7th is
So-
not good for fall, he said.
yeah.
so we want to, do we want to propose the 31st? To,
I guess we could say the fallback is the 7th and fall
Yeah.
can be
bring
available.
date.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, or fallback.
So-
And we want, the people we want to, tell us the FinCom input, FinCom school. Who else do we want input from?
Can we just do it to all town departments?
Oh, well, yeah, we can do
That
that.
way, we just cover
Okay.
everybody. That makes sense.
Is there any more on that topic that we wanted to discuss?
Do we need to make it, we're not gonna make it official that we're changing until,
We hear back, right?
Yeah.
So the next meeting at the very least, so we may have to.
I think Grace said, Grace, he's there?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, so if we were looking at, May 31st or June 7th, I know you said there was like a 45-day period of notice and so forth. We'd be covered if we didn't make a decision about this till our 25th, meeting on the 25th.
I think so. Let me just count the days real quick.
It looks like it's a. That's 30. Yeah, well, I mean, 45 is the middle of April.
Yeah.
I think April being, I just went over.
Yeah, as if we do it, by the 25th, we should be good.
Okay, great, thank you. All right. So we don't need to vote on this, do we? We're just.
No,
gonna-
we're just,
decide on
well,
the
right,
25th, yeah.
we want to get
Okay.
input from the town
Okay.
committees before we vote.
Yeah.
We'd have to vote on it.
Yeah, okay,
Change that
okay,
for advertising and such that follows.
okay.
In the meantime, do you want me to go ahead and remove the town meeting date from the website?
Yeah,
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 TBD.
no, TBD, yeah,
Okay.
thanks, Grace.
Okay. Let's see, we did the farm, so reviewed and confirmed dates for Lake Loyola Public Forum and voting safety. I was in contact with Paul. Rita, while you were away,
Great.
we had changed it so that, the chair of that committee could be participatory in that. So it is the 27th of March.
That's right.
At the school, Paul is available. He did reply. I have to fill out the form for the school.
Yeah.
And I did have, Matt from the voting, has asked if there will be online participation or at least online viewing. I know we haven't done that at the school in the past. I told him I'd bring it to you guys to see if we wanted it just in person or if we were gonna provide some sort of Zoom in or watch. I can test a couple of options to see if it's feasible before we make that decision. The owl is not something we could use, but while we were at the regional school meeting,
Yeah,
I saw them use the same camera I have at home. It's not going to highlight a person speaking, but you can see the room.
and I was trying to, did people participate then from the audience? No.
Well,
They could
not
only-
from the Zoom piece, at least at the regional meeting. Elaine, when we were doing the, library building, looking at the designs, Elaine was conveying questions from those online
So,
to the public.
Oh,
She
okay.
was reading them.
oh, okay.
I believe the chat feature was used. She
Yeah.
was here just a moment ago. I believe the chat feature was used. We can test that. I can test it out. We can see if that will work. I think we can also have a disclaimer if we are unable to do that or something happens, the meeting in person will continue.
Right.
Thoughts of having everybody online speak as well as in the room. Maybe those online could give us an email, to add their voice, being that in case technology goes down. Those are kind of my rough thoughts. Willing to try it, but don't want to guarantee it's going to work. So I think we want to make sure the public knows that we're trying this. If it doesn't work, we will still continue in person.
Okay.
So
I mean, that makes sense. And couldn't people, put it into the chat feature? And, you know, I worry
You can
about.
use the chat feature.
Yeah. use the
yeah, they
chat
could put in
feature.
a chat feature
Right, so
because that's
somebody
also
just-
recorded, right? It's also recorded as part of the Zoom.
And somebody just hands off those questions.
Right.
Right,
Maybe
if-
our administrative assistant could pull those out
Right,
if we weren't using them in that room that night.
right.
So I do see 2 questions online, but I wanted us to have
Yeah.
a discussion first. David and Jennifer, hang on one moment. So I don't know how you guys felt
Yeah,
about attempting.
I mean, I think we
Yeah.
could explore it,
Okay.
certainly, yeah, because there are people who own property down there who might not be able to, who
Right,
live out of.
and that was the point, is that
Right.
they own property, they may not be able to attend by Zoom. It is a weeknight, people
Right.
with children, that such, so.
Yeah. Okay,
I'm gonna call on Dave and, and Jennifer in case they have, Dave and Jennifer.
I just have a quick question. I'm on the committee. And I seem to remember when this came up that we were gonna have this meeting, that the select board was gonna look at what the committee recommended, the feedback they got from this meeting, and their own feelings about the situation. They were gonna kind of jumble it together and decide how this was gonna be presented to town meeting. Am I recollecting that correctly?
So this was a listening session. This particular thing we're talking about right now is into that's the final stage, or that's the final process. This is the listening session that the Chief Burgess and many of the committee members had
Right.
thought that would be a good idea for the select board to hear from, and
I
the wider.
I
Yeah,
guess my question is, do the committee members, should they be there and participate? Should they be there and recuse themselves because they're a separate part of the process? Do I even have to be there at all?
well, I think it's up to each committee member. It's really a listening session in general. It's not going to be a meeting where anything's going to be decided or voted on or anything. That's what I think we're heading into, is just listening to people's comments, and kind of digesting that for the process that you've outlined to follow.
we have like some sort of basic presentation from the committee, like where they.
Do we want a basic
Well,
one,
I
or do we
think-
just? want-
That's kind of what I'm asking. I mean, are you expecting anything of the committee that night? Or are we supposed to kind of just sit there and listen and be part of the process because we're already part of the process? I asked that question of Matt, and he hasn't been able to get back to me, and I'm just trying to get clarification of where you folks feel on the select board.
I think he was waiting for us to decide what we were gonna do.
When you talk to, the
Matt,
chair,
yeah.
yeah.
So. We
Well,
could
they're
ask
gonna
them
be-
for
they'd
a
actually-
rundown.
we're
or
gonna-
something.
They're gonna have an opinion, right, by that point? I mean, won't that committee?
There hasn't been, there's kind of a majority and a minority. Has the committee?
No, we haven't finished our process yet, and I guess there's another member here. The process hasn't been finished yet. We plan to continue, I'm assuming, after this. meeting
Yeah.
happens. So
Oh,
that's why I'm
Alright.
saying, I mean, are we part of this meeting? Are we not part of this meeting? I'm not too sure I carried away. I just want to know what you guys think.
Yeah, I think it would be good to get a synopsis from the committee about where they are. So even if you haven't completed, it's good to hear that there has been this has been
What they've
the
been doing.
discussion, and that, you know,
Okay.
there is not consensus, and therefore this is an opportunity to hear from the community.
Okay, I just wanted to
Yeah.
get a sense of, you know, kind of where you're at and what my preparation needs to be for the meeting, basically.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jen-
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. Jennifer, I see your hand. You're muted, Jennifer.
Will there be some kind of email blast or town email mail
We'll announce.
that announces? Because I had heard something about robocall, and I just don't know if that's the only way.
No. It probably town announced. I think the robocall is our code red system that we've done when there's a trash emergency that we
Right.
picked up, or an emergency, right?
That's right.
I'm not sure we'll put it out through code red.
Okay, good. Yeah, okay, that's what I wanted to know. But then Dave raised a question that I wasn't sure was 100% clear, just for my own benefit, which is, can committee members speak as a resident of Shutesbury? You know, not from
Committee
their
members-
official.
Yeah, in any committee work or whatever, or meeting like that, we usually have a process where you announce I'm speaking as a resident, not in my official capacity.
Announce it, yeah.
Or your statement may be different from that, right? So, yeah,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. I see Paul.
Hi. Yeah, if there is any synopsis or summary of what the committee has come up with to date, I would really like to be able to read that beforehand as well. And it would probably be helpful for me to have some sense for what the select board is expecting of me that evening as well. So either at your next meeting or talking to one of you in private beforehand would be helpful for me.
I think I could reach out to, I can reach out to you, Paul, and we can talk. We can
Great.
talk about that.
All right, thank you.
Tom,
Hi, thanks. Can you give us any advice on whether our committee might need to post that we might also be at the public forum, even if we're only speaking personally or whatnot? Like, should we post it as a committee meeting just in case?
There's no
I mean, out
harm
of
in-
safety, out of safety you could. I don't envision the committee acting in their official capacity in any way. It's a listening session, right, for all of us.
Yeah, I didn't know if even voicing opinions could count as some sort of deliberation across the table to the other members somehow. That was my concern, but I didn't know if you had clear advice on whether we should post it or not is all.
We can always post it.
Yeah, you can always.
When in doubt,
When in doubt, post.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate
I
it.
think we'll are supposed to, because
Yeah, we'll.
three of us and never,
ours.
it's our session, so
Yeah.
we'll be posted.
Okay, thank you.
All right, is there
Very good.
anything else that I think
No.
that's
No,
all
thanks
test out for
for-
technology, so, and in our announcement, we'll make the disclaimer that we're trying this, and if it doesn't work, we apologize, but
Yeah.
in person, we'll continue. Okay, let's see, now we have the review of the Pineapple Express request to deliver cannabis products to.
Do we have something in
town.
writing?
Do we have
You did
something
get
from?
something in
okay.
writing. It is Pineapple Express is a company. And they are asking to deliver retail cannabis in the town of Shutesbury. So I think right now we probably should table it.
We don't even have food delivered.
No, I know. Didn't joke about
Maybe
that.
You will now. You're gonna be so hungry.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll come back with that at the next meeting and make sure everybody has the letter from them.
Okay.
My question here is for you to think about is what is Shrewsbury's cannabis policy? What are you doing here? if you don't have one, that's fine. I don't know if you have.
There was
any
discussions for a while.
Agreements or anything
No,
out there.
No,
Okay,
because
so
there was nobody that was gonna sell. There was some discussion at some point about somebody doing a grow.
Manufacturing,
Yeah.
but that,
Yeah.
our resources didn't allow that.
I'll send that back around.
Okay.
So the next thing I had was the snow and ice.
Yes,
And the snow and ice is over expended right now, $16,459.40. That's pretty good considering the weather we've been having.
Yeah, really.
So cross your fingers, are going into the spring. Maybe.
Yeah.
And then we'll have snow and ice, more snow and ice. We just ran another warrant today, so if any snow and ice bills came through today, they're not part of the 16,000. The 16,000 is from the last warrant, because I don't have a new expense report. The expense reports are on the website, if anybody wants to look at them. They go on once a month for the month of March, that's not there right now. So we always ask the select board to vote on overspending snow and ice, so that the accountant has the authority to continue overspending snow and ice. They are the one account in your town that you can legally overspend. And it's covered at town meeting warrant. There's an article that covers it. So
and you just need us to vote.
to overspend, you don't put a dollar amount to it because you don't know of any other bills that might come through or snowstorms that might come. God forbid.
Okay.
So,
Okay, I
So,
will
do
make
we
a
need a motion?
motion
Yes.
to authorize the over expenditure on the snow and ice line in the highway department budget.
Okay,
Second.
okay. Any further questions? All right, all those in favor?
Carol, I.
Star Cry.
Make please so will I. Perfect, thank you, Gabe, for. And now we have our TA report.
I don't have much to report. We
Okay.
have need for a poll hearing on April 8th. So we'll be getting prepared for that. We are beating the bushes and you're going to be getting a lot of reminders for those of you out there that have not done your town report. That your town report is due. And Brennan is tasked with beating the bushes. So you're getting notices in your postal box, in town hall and emails. If you don't do your report, we're gonna have to print the report without you. And so we are putting it together. And, we had a lot of response in the last week or so when Brennan sent out his first, notice. He just sent out another notice today. So please respond and do your report. And I'm speaking generally to all of you out there. So that's it.
Can you remind anyone who might be listening what the dates are? It was for the last fiscal
The
year.
last date, it was due March 10th.
No, the dates it covers,
It
so.
covers.
It covers
Covers.
fiscal year 24.
Right.
So it's July 1, 23
Yep.
to June 30th, 24.
Who can remember?
Look at
Look at the notes.
No, I've done that. for the
I did it last year. I did it
newsletter.
last
Yeah,
year. I
you
just
did
got all the
both.
minutes.
And the select board hasn't done theirs.
We have not done ours. We are,
Who's
we are,
doing it?
I,
We have-
I was, I think, nominated.
Oh,
So,
I
I'll
think you
second that.
volunteered. You volunteered.
if there's anything you'd like to make sure that's in there,
Yeah.
that, send Gabe, just like in the next day or so.
Okay.
If
But you're
there's anything
gonna
that
get-
jumps out that you definitely, I don't want to miss anything you guys have.
Okay.
And then our draft process would be longer, so.
Okay, yeah, great, thank you for doing that.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, so moving on to the next phase, we will be going into executive session. So to conduct strategy, this is session number 2, reason number 2. To conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiation with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel police chief contract and town administrator contract. We will not be returning to open session. Do I hear a motion to go into the executive session? And we'll ask everybody to.
So moved.
Okay. All right, all those in favor?
Carol, I.
Scott, for
Make peace O'Neill, aye. So everybody online and in the room here that aren't included, we'll have to ask you to leave. But thank you for participating tonight. We appreciate it.